So before I start, I'm going to talk to you a bit about Digital. Digital is this amazing company I work for. They're a digital agency, which means they create digital products for different companies, accelerating their digital capabilities. So this is their model. It's really cool. They have kind of three things they do: guiding, building, and teaching. So the whole thing is about working alongside a client. It's not going in and building something and getting out as quick as you can. It's working alongside on client site, building stuff together, and in some cases even helping clients, hire new capabilities so the clients can be independent and autonomous by themselves. It's really cool. Make sure you grab one of these. I've just seen these. They're really pretty, and they tell you all about it. The other thing to say is that we're hiring. So we're expanding really, really fast. We've got new offices all over the country, and we're looking for a huge range of kind of capabilities: analysts, developers, UX designers, mobile developers. So if you're interested in design, you're interested in digital, do check us out. And if you're an Andy, give us a wave. Everyone wave. So there's lots of us around here. So feel free to grab anyone, talk to them. Everyone would love to talk to you about what Digital is and the Digital lifestyle. Cool. So my name's Paavan. I work as a product analyst at and a user experience designer. And in my spare time, I work as a magician. So in the next 20 minutes, I'm going to talk to you about some thoughts I had about the intersection of magic and user experience. So I've called this talk Knowledge of the Magicians: How Magic Can Inform Our Understanding of Human Behavior. So this pairing might sound a bit random, but consider this. Magic is an art form that necessitates the presence of an audience. So if you think about other art forms like music and dance, you can kind of do those for the sole enjoyment of yourself as a performer. But as a magician, you kind of have to have someone else there. It can't be done in isolation. And moreover, when you show someone a magic trick, there's an immediate and sometimes visceral reaction. You get a moment of shock and awe and wonder when you see something which, is completely impossible, breaks all your understandings of how the world normally works. Chasing that feeling and trying to create that feeling in other people is what drives me to be a magician and what drives everyone I know to be a magician. All of this means that magic is entirely audience-directed. It's entirely user-focused. And that's what UX is. UX is about taking the human-centered aspect of design or product development and putting it first, and putting the needs of that user first. So that being said, here's what I'm going to talk about. Three aspects: storytelling, attention, and wonder. And I'm going to start by talking about storytelling. So when you watch a magic show in a theater, the narrative structure you see is one that is the same as in novels or in movies or in plays. It's something called the hero's journey. So you're bound to recognize this, even if you've not explicitly seen it labeled as such. The hero's journey goes like this. Our protagonist ventures out into the world, initially reluctant, onto their quest. They face increasingly difficult challenges, and at one point it might seem like all hope is lost. But then they succeed. They achieve the goal of their quest and return home as a hero, now a rightful citizen of both their home world and the world of the adventure. You guys recognize this, right? Yeah? It's the plot of Star Wars, the Bible, The Lord of the Rings, Kill Bill, Harry Potter, The Wizard of Oz, The Great Gatsby, and any other story you can think of. So it's a widely explored trope. Some academics break it down into 17 concrete, discrete steps, and they go all analytical on it. But I think of it more as like a fractal. It can be as long or as short as you choose for it to be. The journey of a hero can occur in a book, or in a chapter, or in a paragraph, or even in a tweet. And it's useful for UX designers for the same reason it's useful for magicians and storytellers and all these people we're talking about. It's because humans find it easy to empathize with this journey, this kind of arc of struggle and then redemption. We can kind of instantly recognize what that archetype is and place ourselves in that situation. And that benefit comes from its predictability. We know where the story is going to end. Predictability is employed by both magicians and by product designers. As a magician, if I start a trick and make something vanish, and then make something reappear somewhere else, you will know what the reappearing thing is, because it's the logical conclusion to that story. The vanish will hang in the air, kind of like an imperfect cadence in music, and it waits to be resolved, and you know what the conclusion is going to be. And you might think that this sounds bad, because it ruins a surprise, but it's actually a really good thing. Humans are creatures of habit. So when you kind of come to that natural conclusion of a story, it's like a large outward sigh of breath. It's a relief. It's like a whew. In the UX world, this idea is encapsulated by something called Jacob's Law, Jacob Nielsen. Jacob's Law states that users prefer your digital product to work in the same way as all the other digital products that they already know about. So being a predictable is a really good thing, and we should design for patterns that our users are already accustomed to. We should design in a predictable way. I'm going to keep talking about storytelling and talk about scope. As a magician, on stage, I take up a role which is somewhere in between being an actor. An actor is someone who plays the part of someone else, and the role of, say, a stand-up comic who plays themselves and tells you stories about their lives. So that role as a magician is a heightened version of myself. It's still me, but it's a version of me that is comfortable standing on a stage and saying, I can do impossible things. And then it also blurs into a role which is more human, more fallible, kind of reacts to the magic that I'm performing. So it's kind of this blurring of different scopes. It's really broad, and you move between different levels of performance. There's a parallel to this for user experience designers, which I'm sure some of you know where I'm going with this. Our user's relationship to a digital product doesn't end when they close a website or an app. The relationship a user has with a company and the company's products goes beyond a single interaction. This comes down to, this relates to Nielsen Norman's group's definition of user experience. So their definition of user experience is that it encompasses all aspects of a person's interaction with a company, its services, or its products. These aspects can be mapped into 3 levels: the interaction level, the journey level, and the relationship level. So if you think about a company, a large digital company, say Amazon, there's a huge range of touch points and customer journeys. You might visit the website, you might see physical ad campaigns, digital ad campaigns, you might talk to customer support on the phone or on chat, and more. So it's no longer enough to just think about that interaction level. We have to consider the whole broad scope, the whole relationship level. All these interactions get weaved together, resulting in that relationship level. Next up, I'm going to talk about attention. So magicians like to talk about attention, and they like to talk about something called misdirection. So you guys might have heard of this. Misdirection is where you can kind of control where people look. I actually really hate the term misdirection. I don't think it's very accurate. I think it's better as redirection of attention. Because when you misdirect someone, you're not really just trying to distract them from something happening over there and do some sneaky stuff over here. You kind of direct their attention somewhere else by drawing attention and kind of prioritizing it more. So this is known equally well to interface designers as well as magicians. You can control where someone looks very easily. So I'm going to show you something quickly. Let's see if this works. Let's go for. So we've got a coin. Can you guys all hear me without the mic? Yeah. Okay, cool. So if we just take a coin, it's quite easy to make it vanish. And then we can grab it out of the air, make it reappear. So I'm going to break this down for you really slowly. No one here is in the magic circle, right? Because they'll kick me out if I explain this to you. I'm totally genuine, they will. So don't tell them I did this, and we won't send the recording to them. So in this trick, when I take the coin, my eyes are here, my head is facing here, my whole shoulders are tilted here, my body's here. So my whole body language is looking at this hand, my fingers are squeezing, which means that when I click and make it vanish, you guys all believe that the coin is there because I believe it's there, and secretly it's here. So really slowly, we're controlling the attention and misdirecting it away from here. So it's not misdirection, it's redirection of attention. So one more time, just like that. Thanks. So yeah, timing plays a really big part here. By focusing that magic moment on where I click and make the vanish happen, we all think back to where that vanish was. It was at that point, and then we totally forget about the other stuff. So we can control attention in that way. As I'm sure you can imagine, there's a huge overlap for interface designers, UX designers, because by being able to control the experience of our users and where their attention is, we can greatly improve that experience that they have. Cognitive psychologists have done tons of research on this, and if you're interested in that aspect of things, talk to me afterwards, because I have some friends who are magicians and cognitive psychologists, and there's actually a thing at the Wellcome Collection, which I don't know if you guys saw, which explores that parallel. But there's a lot of research being done into this, and it shows that humans have a really limited working memory, there's only a small amount of things that we can juggle at one time. In the UX world, this is called Hicks law. The time it takes to make a decision increases with the number and complexity of choices. So by keeping things as simple as possible, we can provide a much better experience for our users. You guys might know where this is going. There's a well-known mantra by Steve Krug. Anyone know it? Don't make me think, yeah. So don't make me think. This is a really a good thing to keep in mind when designing anything. The less you can make your users have to have a cognitive load, cognitive effort, and think about things, the better their experience will be. Here are some really good examples of this from the real world, so not just digital products. Even if you don't speak English or Hindi, you can see where that red arrow is pointing, right? It's really obvious. If you've got, like, on a website, feature columns, it might not be right to draw their user's attention to the more expensive option, but this is what this is trying to do, this kind of style of highlighting it. You guys will all recognize this website. Pretty obvious where you're meant to click on here. This is a fun thing I saw. It just kind of hammers the point home about where your attention goes. One other thing to do with attention is blind spots. Typically, all websites, this goes back to designing for products which your users are familiar to. All websites typically have a similar layout, which means that if you place information where other websites have ads or cookie notices or other dead zones, it'll get ignored. And I actually know this from experience. With And Digital, we're working on a large travel brand, and I was doing some usability tests for one of their websites, one of their products. And there was this one bit of text, a little notice that we needed users to read. It was quite important for decisions that they would make later on. And in usability testing, we actually watched as people would go on the website, click, scroll down the page, and they would seemingly be looking straight at it. They'd look right at this notice, and they would not see it, and we'd ask them questions and talk to them about it, and they just wouldn't notice it, even though they were seemingly looking right at it. So this is something which, I keep going back to the Nielsen-Norman group, it's because they're the best. They call this banner blindness, and they've done loads of studies about this, eye tracking studies. So here's a really good one. This is going a bit fast, but you can see all of the blue dots are where your eyes look, and you can see nothing is going on the right-hand side. Your eyes move in something called saccades, so your pupils dart around the page, and you can see, you keep going through here, you might go off for a bit, but you never look at that right-hand side. So as UX designers, we need to be aware of this. We're so used to, as humans, we've become so used to dismissing ads, we've become subconsciously trained to be selectively ignorant. Magicians know this, like I just showed. Our focus is like a tunnel vision. And if you're directing someone away from something by emphasizing something else, one thing will become blind. It'll become a complete blind spot, and you'll have no chance of catching it. So any important information we need to keep in the right place. Lastly, I'm going to talk to you a bit about wonder. So wonder comes back to what I said at the start. Magic is wholly audience-focused. User-centered design is the same. It's about designing for what a user needs, but it's also about focusing on what a user wants. It's great to be able to delight a user with unexpected moments of joy and delight. There's lots of examples like this. Here are a few. Anyone recognize where this little animation is from? Twitter, yeah. So when you click on the little like icon, it gives you this little flash. It's really minor, but it's fun, and it makes you enjoy clicking like on things, and you end up liking more tweets and enjoying your experience on the website. This is one from Gusto, another And Digital client. So Gusto do a really cool thing where once you've had a few recipe boxes, they send you a present. They don't tell you about this, it's nowhere on the website when you're going through the whole process, but one day you just get a recipe box. Gusto, by the way, they do recipe boxes to help make cooking easier and save food waste. They're really cool, you should check them out. They send you a wooden spoon without telling you about it. No one makes a big deal of it. It's just a nice thing to get in the post. We guys will all know which bank this is. This is Monzo. Monzo have this thing where if someone sends you money, you can say thanks with an emoji. Who'd have thought 5 years ago, or even 2 years ago, that you'd be able to say thanks when someone sends you money with an emoji? But it's that kind of like little thing, small moment of delight that brings users joy when using products. I've got one more example. This one's a bit different. This came out a couple of weeks ago, and I just added it in because I think it's amazing. Monzo have figured out how to get your salary paid in a day early. which is crazy, right? It can't have been easy to like figure out back transfer systems and figure out where, thousands, if not millions of pounds are like sitting and how to position them correctly so that loads of people get their salary paid in a day early every month. But Monzo know that by kind of focusing on these little things, or in this case, this big thing, you can bring users a lot more joy when using a product. And by making happy users, the users will keep coming back because they keep feeling good. Now, magicians know about all of this. I don't think I would be a magician, nor any magician I know would be a magician if we didn't have that kind of, it's like a craving to make people happy. And it's more than happy, it's about giving them that sense of wonder. Magic is really interesting because there are so few things that can make an adult, a totally grown adult, feel like not themselves anymore. That can break them out of their collection of sensibilities and ideas of how to behave and ideas of how to hold themselves, and just make them feel like you're a kid again. When you're a kid, everything is magical. If you see a train for the first time, if you eat ice cream for the first time. But as we grow up, we lose that sense of wonder. Things become more normal and, well, just kind of boring. But seeing a really good magic trick kind of takes you back to that feeling of wonder. When you witness something that breaks your understanding of how the natural world works and how all these physical laws work, you feel like a kid again. So, to end, I thought I'd try something. I need a volunteer. Does anyone want to join me? Any hands? Yeah? You want to help me out? Yeah. Cool. Do you want to come up? And a round of applause as you come up. Cool. I'm going to go off the mic, so if you can't hear me, just shout, and I'll try and speak up. Would you just choose one of these cards out? Mm-hmm. Happy?
Yeah. Should I?
Yeah, look at it. Don't let me see it. Make sure everyone else sees. Aaron, look. Drop it in. Happy? Mm-hmm. I'll give it a bit of a mix. I'm going to try something a bit strange. Is it okay if I try and read your mind? You okay with that? So we all know magic isn't real. But for the next 5 or so minutes, let's pretend it is. Do you just come stand next to me? Clear your mind. Totally clear your mind. In a second, I'm going to ask you something, and I want you to say no. I'm going to ask you a few things. I want you to say no to all of them out loud. Mm-hmm. Is your card a red card?
No.
Is your card a black card?
No.
He's good. All right. Do you mind if I just try this? All right. That's great. For the first time, will you tell me what was your card?
Jack of Hearts.
Guys, that's okay. Everyone makes mistakes. Doesn't matter. The thing is, I've been making a lot of mistakes recently. But look, we'll try this. I think I had a Jack of Hearts a few days ago. Like I said, magic's not real, right? But if I could really do magic, can you see it? Yeah, here we go. If I could really do magic, it would look something like this. There you go. Cool.
Are you going to show us how you did that one?
No, maybe in a bit. Thank you so much.
Cool,
Round of applause. I'm going to try one more thing. I need one more volunteer. Maybe someone at the back. Does someone want to? Anyone want to volunteer? Yeah. Do you want to come up? One more round of applause. Cool. I'm just going to ask you to choose out a card, or just tap on the back of one. Yeah.
Okay.
That one?
Yeah, this.
That one? Okay. The 3 of spades? Okay, guys. Everyone can still hear me, right? I'm going to try this. I'm going to get you to hold that. Remember what we were saying about vanishing and misdirecting? Watch this. So you've got the remainder of that card. Sleeves are up. Nothing's fallen down. I don't know if the more astute of you will have noticed. Remember that thing I said about predictability, things coming to natural conclusions. Has anyone noticed anything around here? This? Yeah. So this has been here the whole time. I haven't touched it. Would you do me a favor and just open that envelope? What's that? Should you show everyone? It's a train ticket. So the thing is, I told you all about the predictability thing. We're all building up. We know what's in here. It's just a train ticket. But look, let me try this. If you just come to the side and I hold this up to the light, maybe the people at the front will be able to see this. Let's grab this out. I'm just going to try this. Can you guys see that? There you go. Look, fits perfectly. Cool. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. That was good. Cool. So I'm out of time. Thanks, everyone. Just a quick recap. When designing experiences, consider the full user journey. Make use of the hero's journey archetype. Be predictable. Don't make the user think. Think about where you direct attention by emphasizing and de-emphasizing. Be wary of unplanned blind spots in your product. Treat your user as a human and introduce wonder into your products. That's all from me. Thank you so much. I'm Paavan, and make sure to follow me. Thanks, everyone. Cool.